Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to 360 Conversations. Looking at that image on the screen just reminds me of so many of our wonderful trips to South Africa up in the bush. Today, Natalie and I have the privilege of catching up with Stefan Schoeman on site at Sabi Sabi Private Game Reserve. Stefan is the general manager of all 4 lodges. So without further ado, let's cross over to Stefan. Morning, everybody. Stefan, lovely to see you. Nats, great to see you again. Stefan, looks like an interesting background. Maybe you can just let us know a little bit where you are.
Yeah, good morning, everybody. Great to see all of you guys. I'm currently on the deck here in front of Salati Camp, one of the Sabi Sabi lodges. Very nice little setting we have here with the Salati waterhole in the background called Majaji Pan. So we decided on this setting, keeping our fingers crossed that hopefully something comes through and joins us during the meeting for a drink of water in the back.
That would be just perfect. Really good. Stefan, so tell us a little, could you tell us about your journey with the Sabi Sabi family? How long have you been with the group now?
Well, I was fortunate enough to be approached in 2002, early 2002, and invited to the Nkombi Camp Ranger Training Program. After that, I was selected to join the team as a safari guide, and I joined them in May of 2002, and then slowly progressed through the ranks from safari guide onto the management side of things, a little bit more hospitality orientated. I was then appointed as relief lodge manager, moving between the properties and overseeing the management of the properties of the lodges when the management couples or the managers at the camps went on leave. And then from there, I was fortunate enough to be given Salati, where we are at the moment, as a camp to manage. That was about a 2.5-year journey, and then from there on to Earth Lodge, which was a bit of a bigger fish with more challenges, but nonetheless just as exciting. And then that brought us up to about 2010, halfway through 2010. And then I decided to take a bit of a sabbatical from the bush and headed back to Johannesburg. I joined a boutique hotel and fine dining restaurant called Forum Harmony and Roots in the cradle of mankind, completely different to the lodge industry. A lot more focus on the food and the wine and the fine dining aspect, which was a great learning curve for me. Obviously, coming from the bush, being exposed to that, all of a sudden, I really benefited a lot from that. And then in 2013, Jacques Smith, our sales and managing director, he had a sales and marketing team build at the Roots restaurant. And we started chatting, and he said there might be possibilities of position opening up as a general manager of lodges, and would I be interested in returning to the bush? And I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Here I am. So 2013, I rejoined, and up to current. So in total, close to 15, 16 years in total with the company, all through from safari side of things, all through to top management. Yeah.
Wow, that's brilliant, Stefan. I mean, I think it's one of the things that is very reflective of a family-run business is that so many people there have many, many years of service.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of us have been away and returned, you know. I think, as I always jokingly say to guests when I meet them and they ask me about the same question that you have asked me now, I said it was like literally being on an extended holiday. You walk back in here and it felt like you haven't left at all. You know, familiar faces, the same company spirit, the same friendliness all around, and literally just walk back in and slotted back in. You know, it's amazing how easy that transition from where I was back to here actually went.
Great. I think when Natalie and we all sit here in the UK, we're very envious of what you guys do there at the lodges. It's really wonderful. One of the real benefits, particularly for us and the international markets with Sabi Sabi, is that they have 4 different lodges, and all the lodges are very different in themselves and have their own personalities. How do you find it? Does it take a specific type of staff member or a unique set of training skills to work at all the respective lodges?
Basically, what we do is we put a lot of emphasis on that is to train our staff throughout the board to be able to slot in at any of the camps or any of the lodges at any particular time. So that also just allows the opportunity for staff to grow. Obviously, as you've mentioned, different camps, different guests' needs and requirements. So they get to be exposed to all of those, and it's a personal growth thing for the staff. And you know, it's always nice to expose them to different things. The different way we serve dinner, for instance, at Earth Lodge to Bush Lodge, not only from a growth point of view, but also it gives them more confidence and be able to assist wherever and whenever is needed. And that goes for everybody from the bottom all the way right through to the top. So everybody is on a 24-hour 24/7 standby to jump in where and whenever needed, you know, which I think makes for this whole family feel. You don't get compartmentalized. You don't get put in a little box and say, you Bush Lodge, you Salati, you Little Bush. We're all Sabi Sabi, even though 4 different lodges, all one big family, and everybody's there to help and assist where and whenever. So yeah, that's the focus and the aim that we run the operation with.
Yeah. That's great. Sabi Sabi, and especially the Bush Lodge, has always been known or referred to as your luxury home in the bush. And for me, that kind of paints a very, I suppose, specific picture with regards to exclusiveness and personalized service, where you can literally picture people standing with their arms wide open, welcoming people back home. How is this achieved with a relatively big lodge? I mean, with Bush Lodge having 25 suites, how do you manage to kind of maintain that sense of exclusivity still, with a lodge that size?
I think it all starts off upon arrival, the personal interaction between management and the meeting in the car park, the welcome, the check-in, building that personal relationship, a first name basis with your guests arriving. And then also looking at the lodge per se, the size and the space around the lodge is unbelievable. We have 2 pools to alleviate the pressure on the pool area. We've got 3 viewing decks. The restaurant area is big, so you're not cramped at any time. The Boma is a big area. We have for extra exclusivity, we have the 2 villas where families can take out the villas with their own plunge pool, own little garden area, which adds to that exclusivity. And then obviously something we have that gives mom and dad a little bit of free time is the Elephant Center. That'll look after the kids and have an area where children can go and enjoy and play without really being under the adults' feet and you know, all over the place. So I think the way the layout and the size of the lodge, as well as the personal interaction from management all the way down waiters, barman, cleaning staff, all of that combined definitely creates that home away from home feeling in the bush, irrespective of the size of the lodge. Yeah.
It's great. Now, I think it goes without saying that this year has had its fair share of challenges, and it's obviously been a number of months since you've had any guests on site, and I know that you guys are kind of keeping things ticking over with literally a handful of staff members, and I can only imagine that as a leader, Stefan, that must be quite a challenge to kind of keep the guys that are there motivated and inspired. How do you do it? Have you got any kind of pearls of wisdom? I sometimes battle to keep myself inspired, and I'm one person.
Sorry for interrupting there. Yeah, as you've mentioned earlier, I think purely being in a lockdown situation where we are, I think is enough motivation as is, instead of being in a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment with a small little yard. You know, we've got over 6,500 hectares of backyard to play with, which is a great thing. It still allows us to get out. But in general, in saying that, honestly, I haven't battled one single day to motivate the people around us. The staff that we have on board at the moment, everybody has been so positive, and I think that's made life so much easier for all of us from a management point of view. We keep on cracking on with the belief that this will change within the next week, and then irrespective whether it does or not, we know that once it changes and that switch gets flicked and it's like guests are on the way, we need to be ready, and we need to be able to welcome them back with open arms, because I'm sure people all across the globe are travel hungry, and they would love to come and experience situations like this. So the guys have been extremely positive, and we feed off each other. The positive energy is just unbelievable. We try and get together at least once a week. We normally do like a Sunday joint lunch somewhere at somebody's house, where everybody prepares a little bit of a salad or a dish, and we all hook up and we have a glass of wine and we laugh and I think the positive attitude all around has just been incredible, and it's made my life a lot easier than I think in a lot of other places around the world. And even, I mean, we're in constant contact with our staff members outside. Even them, they're all positive. We often get phone calls from them thanking us for staying here and making sure that the operation is still running and the place is still fine. So yeah, all good, all good.
Now, just before I ask you something else, is that an Ellie behind you?
That is an elephant, yeah. That's an elephant behind us coming through for a drink of water. You see, that's why. So I'm willing to sacrifice my face in the shade so you guys can see the elephants in the back there. So,
well, the fact that you've moved a little bit now, we can see the elephants and your face. So it's a.
There we go. You see now. There we go.
That's incredible. I did promise myself I wasn't going to get all emotional on this call or whatever, but just hearing what you're saying and how everyone's really pulling together during this time and just literally waiting in bated breath to welcome people. I mean, I can't help but get a lump in my throat. So I'll try and pull myself towards myself as I look at the Ellie. I mean, Stefan, can you share anything that's kind of positive that has come from the last couple of months? I mean, when we chatted to Jock a couple of weeks ago, he just highlighted that the way Sabi Sabi kind of manages things on site lends itself towards not kind of seeing much of a change in the bush per se, but I'm assuming that just from a, team perspective or even a personal perspective, have you seen something positive come from this?
Yeah, it's always difficult with something like this to see the glass half full, but I definitely have. And I gave it some thought, and over above from a business point of view, I think small things that we in general around the world take for granted. I mean, handshakes, hugs, welcoming people with a hug or a handshake. I mean, those things that you like, it's not there anymore, and it leaves a gap. So I think we'll all walk away from this whole thing with the appreciation for the smaller things that we sometimes take for granted. On a positive note, I think it has pulled us as a team, not only here at the lodge, but all around, from head office, from Jock's guys at head office, us at the lodges, our team that's outside, as I've mentioned earlier. It's pulled us so much closer together, and we feed off each other, knowing that if we, for 1 minute, go sit in the corner and be despondent, at the end of the day, everybody suffers, So I think the positive all around is just, it's brought a lot of people a lot closer to each other and made us realize how important it is to have each other and to count on one another for situations like this. So yeah, there's a half full glass and not always a half empty glass, I guess, at the end of the day.
Well, and don't forget your fellow team members in the UK.
No, definitely all around the world. I mean, it's unbelievable the support that we get and from you guys, and we're very thankful for that. And knowing that once things are slowly getting back to normal, you will definitely make sure that we start ticking over and make sure that things return to normal as quickly as possible. Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
There's a hive of activity. You're going to have to just quickly tell us before Ian carries. You see, I have serious FOMO of lack of.
No problem. No, there's just a herd of blue wildebeest that just moved in. The Ellie looks like he had his full and he's moving off, and a herd of wildebeest has just pulled into the waterhole to come through and have a drink. Yeah.
So you mentioned just now that there was some. You mentioned that there was some line around. So maybe if we hang on long enough, we'll see a kill in front of us.
No, definitely. And if it happens, even if we say goodbye and it happens afterwards, I'll try and get hold of you guys and send you some pictures. Keep an eye on Instagram and Facebook. I'm pretty sure if it happens, it'll definitely be on the social platforms.
I'm sure.
For sure. That's great, Stefan. It's just we've always said it's one big family, and it's really good to hear. You're obviously based in the bush full time, and at the moment, you have more time on your hands than normal. So you've obviously gone a hell of a lot of safaris, and I'm sure a lot of it is taken for granted. Do you have some wildlife sighting that is your ultimate? Perhaps you can share one of your best moments with us.
Yeah, at the moment, as I say, one thing that we're very fortunate, before I get to that, just to answer that question, one thing that we're very fortunate that hasn't changed is the wildlife and the activity around. And as I've mentioned earlier, it's clear on Facebook and Instagram and all our social media platforms. So the animals are here waiting for you guys. They haven't gone anywhere. So, so the sooner you get back here, the better. But yeah, going back to my guiding days, there's been quite a few. One in particular was, I think I was guiding for just over 7 or 8 months. And where I originally started off, to the north of us here. The game viewing wasn't nearly as prolific and as exceptional as it is in the sands, you know. And one thing that we didn't get to see very often, and we still don't, but when we do, it's high quality sightings, is cheetah. And the one morning leaving Bush Lodge with my guests, there's an open area called Open Area Squirrel. And we saw a cheetah perched on top of a termite mound. On close inspection, it turned out to be a female. And as we pulled in, she had some youngsters with her. She actually had 3 youngsters with her. And they were just going on to sub-adulthood, and mom was busy teaching them how to hunt and how to fend for themselves. And there was a herd of impala on the open area, and she stalked and she managed to grab a lamb. It was during the lambing season. And she grabbed the lamb and she didn't kill it. She actually brought it back to the termite mound. For these 3 youngsters to actually practice on this baby impala. So it sounds very cruel, but it's nature at its best. I mean, it's stuff that you see on the Discovery Channel and Natural Geographic, you know. So we literally spent, my safari that morning was 2.5 kilometers out of Bush Lodge and 2.5 kilometers back to Bush Lodge, and the rest of the time was just on this open area, just watching the interaction and how clumsy and useless, in inverted commas, these little youngsters are when they have to do their own thing, you know, up to such an extent when mom eventually decided, listen, this is not going anywhere. And then she finished it off, and they all started to feed, and then we left the sighting. But that is definitely way up there, because as I've mentioned, you very seldom get the opportunity to experience that firsthand. And yeah, that's just one of many. I think I can keep you here for another 45 to an hour if I tell you about everything that's out there. But I'm sure you guys are pretty much aware of how amazing this area is for wildlife and for safari.
Yeah.
It sure is. It really is incredible, and there's no doubt that, never mind Natalie and myself, but the rest of all our followers and our partners and our clients, we're all just desperate to get back to Sabi Sabi, get back to South Africa, back to the bush at some stage. It's just, we just can't tell you how exciting it all is, and it's so lovely to chat to you, Stefan. So good to hear that everything is well, and that you guys are all prepared. And we really appreciate not only your time, but for arranging some elephant and wildebeest to come and join us as well.
The pleasure is all mine. I'm very happy that they played ball and arrived at the right time, at the right place. And I'm very happy to have shared this with you guys. And yeah, from our side, as I've mentioned earlier, and I think as we've mentioned numerous times, yeah, we sitting here waiting, ready in anticipation. As soon as the green light appears, and green light means go, we will be ready and waiting with open arms to welcome back and wow and treat people with the same warmth, friendliness, and hospitality that we have done for the last 40 years. So great seeing you guys and great catching up. And thank you for your time, and thank you for the ability or the opportunity to have a chat to you guys.
Thanks, Stefan, and send our regards to everyone, and you guys take care, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Same on that side, and stay safe, and keeping fingers crossed we'll see each other soon. Have a good day.
Thanks, Stefan.